Hey, I'm Kev, Mystical. Welcome back to MotoGP 18 has its hot up in the championship battle, and so is Mario as well. 3 on a row. We're heading to one of his favourite circuits, Down Under. And before we head there, this is going to be the final race, which is a bit longer than the rest. And also, it's a bit of an easier race, unfortunately. It's probably the easiest on the calendar as well. So, rack it up. So here goes Mario then for the first of 2 possible qualifying efforts in qualifying 1. As he flies over 200 miles per hour for breaking down to around 110, 120. Avoiding the riders coming out of pit lane. As what a glorious circuit it is. Undulation, flowing, fast, furious. Everything you want on the circuit. Maybe a bit tight for cars, but for bikes, this is glorious. So go into the right-hander. Then uphill through the left. There's going to be some jostling into those tight corners before these fast sweepers uphill. Nicely into the right, Mario. And over Lukey Heights, I believe this is. Before you go into hairpin. Got to be careful braking downhill. And the final 2 corners, very distinct from each other on the MotoGP bike. Or they just flow into one another, really. It's going to power very early. Maybe a bit too early for Mario, but still, it's a 25.9, and it smashed everyone. With Petruccio making it through on this Ducati, no surprise there. With Pedrosa ahead of Bautista and Espargaro for an all-Spaniard 5th row. And we're about ahead of Serwin and Bradley Smith. Scott Redding leads to 7th row ahead of his teammate Espargaro and Morbidelli. He's ahead of his teammate Lucy, Nakagami, and Simon with Carabam in last. So here goes Mario for 2 possible qualifying laps in qualifying 2. As he needed just 1 to do the business. In first qualifying, this is a bit wide through the right. It's a bit messy already, that. But then that is how you ride round here, isn't it? It's a bit messy with late apexes. Corners seem to go on forever as well. You just got to be patient at times. That's through Casey Stoner corner. And then into the hairpin. Bit late on the power there, Mario. Didn't really use most of the track on the exit like you meant to. Definitely did on the exit of the left-hander though. Stab the brakes through the right. Got to power nice and early. That rear end really does not want to be planted, does it? There's over Lukey Heights, downhill braking. Into the right. Very easy to fold the front if you're a bit too late getting on the brakes. Then through the final corner. Which really is just an extension of that previous corner. You just got to dab the brakes for the final corner. And you're going to power as early as you can. It's a bit messy that, but it might be quicker. It's a 25.7. And it's pole by over a second ahead of his championship rivals Marquez and Dovi. Then you've got Vinales, Rins and Rossi on the second row. Zarco, Lorenzo and the home hero Miller in 9th ahead of Iannone, Croccio and Petrucci. So for Mario, the mission is simple. Just stay in first. So here's Mario run up at the start then from pole. How many times I said that so far this season? We have lost count as we get underway for 13 laps here in Australia. A poor start for Mario. Actually, he's getting back up to Vinales and co. Has great start from the Primoc. Is that Miller? Let's look at Mario shooting through into second ahead of Marquez, is he? Shooting into the lead round the outside of Dovizioso. Not quite. But back up to third. Fantastic opening couple of corners. And Marquez a bit suspect into Casey Stoner corner and into the hairpin. Now you're trying to hold on ahead of the Honda. Oh, and he's got the exit down the inside into the left. Holds back Marquez. Almost loses the bike. As now it's just Dovizioso between himself and the lead. And Sarko ahead of Iannone. Now you can see outside of the Ducati, not quite. It's got a battling with Bradley Smith. So here comes Marquez and co back at Mayo. Into the hairpin. Bit wide. And oh, Marquez sneaking the bike down the inside, forces Mayo wide. No, keeping faith the outside line. Gets ahead of Marquez before the line does he. Has the 7/10 behind Dovizioso. Mayo holds on to the lead just ahead of the Honda. There's now Vinales up to third ahead of Marquez. There's Nakagami back for 23rd with Morbidelli. As Luti in last. Mark Vidiestra in 24th and 25th. As here comes Mayo on Dovi. Oh, he's gone wide. We've got Petrucci back for 8th with Rins, which allowed actually Iannone by the Suzuki teammates maybe working together on the Pramac. So staying ahead of Vinales just. No, Petrucci fighting back up to 8th ahead of Rins. As well, Vinales almost into the back of Mayo. Slowing down for no man there into the hairpin. The Yamaha. So trying to chase down Dovi. As he on to the third lap. Sarko back up to 10th ahead of Iannone. Over 25 for that. Pace is frantic in this race already as Dovi did a 25.3. You can see Quattro in 6th as well, just ahead of Lorenzo. This Mayo taking the very wide line here. Trying to get that cut back on Dovi. Fortunately for him, the Ducati's just in the way on the exit. Didn't quite work out. As they're building a gap to Vinales behind. So they go into the hairpin side by side. Dovi gives it up. Mayo by into the lead. So he goes very wide. Going to power nice and hard on the exit. As Sarko ahead of Miller. Miller out the top 10. After holding third in the first corner. What a shame for the home hero. So Mayo now 6/10 ahead of Dovi. As Quattro up to 6th ahead of Lorenzo. You can see the yellow fever still present here. Down under. Let's move another 25 flat. What consistency. It's behind. It's still Vinales ahead of Marquez, Rossi, Quattro, Lorenzo, Petrucci, Iannone. Sarko down in 10th. No Rins. Siren ahead of Bradley Swift for 18th. No, Miller back into the top 10. And Zarco. It's nice use of the curb there just to help turn the bike through the corner. So that Tissa up to 14th ahead of Espargo. Luti up to 23rd ahead of Xavier Simon. Dovi in second, 8/10 back now. Mayo just entering his time the halfway, or around the halfway point of the race for that middle third. He's already pulling away by a second ahead of Dovi. Absolutely loves it round there. As Rebecca up to 15th ahead of Paul Espargaro, or not. See if Vince and KTM battle hard for a single point, a reward. As we go on to the 5th lap. 25.3, that's a bit slow, Mario. Come on, build the pace back up. It's very similar to top 10, it looks like. Ian Only out racing Rins for once. It's normally the other way. Seeing Rins ahead of Ian Only. Savio Simon up the 23rd Evoluti. It's through the left. Hard on the power. Into the hairpin. Nice and smooth on the power out of there. It's so important to be that. Just get a good X out of these tight corners. There seems to be we've gone the right way with the aero. As Mario. Have a Aprilia. Right exiting like a dream, like he struggled with in Japan. Fought through it though in Japan to grab that victory. Here it's just riding like a glove. 1.5 ahead of Dovi. Or fits him like a glove, should I say. Not sure he can ride a glove. He goes through the final corner. Osako and Petrucci now battling hard overnight. The Tech 3 in the Pramac. As all, Mark has been dropped in 4th. It's Dovi and Vinales in 2nd and 3rd. Mark is a bit further back in 4th. Then Rossi ran out the top 5, but he's not really being pressured by the veteran Italian. As approaching halfway mark of this race, it's looking very familiar, isn't it? No, just ruled in the roost. The top 4 in the championship could be shaked up a bit. After this race, yeah, Vinales will confirm he's out of here. In the moment, I believe, or he'll be clinging on his title hopes. He need everyone just to fall apart in the last couple of races, which is unlikely to happen. And then the top 3 with Mayo, with Marquez, with Dovi. Could be very close between them. I'll be talking a handful of points just covering all of them. As we go into the second half of the race, as the Spargo ahead of a bat for 16th now. Looks like Mao's just settled on that 25's pace. Lorenzo and Sip ahead of Crutcho, Zark up to 7th. As well, Mayo, very wide. What are you doing? I already heard Alex Martin earlier. I wants to take part in some supercross, maybe some off-road biking. Not the time to try it out, though. You're leading your Australian motorcycle Grand Prix. And you're chasing down a title. You're just 3 rounds remaining, including this one. There's Sepang and then Valencia. And for Mayo, he needs to be in the lead of the championship by the time we head to Valencia, because he's not good around there. It's such a tough circuit. Well, this circuit fits like a glove. Valencia fits like a glove with loads of holes. Bit too small. Just seem very uncomfortable to ride around. But hopefully this Aprilia being a bit better on accelerating out the corners. Proved to be a good hunting ground for Mario. Feeling more like it did at the beginning of the season, this bike. It's only rounds out the top 10 behind Zarco. There's like Petrucci up to 8th. There's Baptista battling with Paul Spargo for 14th. And this will be his 7th win of the season as well for Mario. Without that blip in the middle part of the year in Sachsenring, where he had to fight his way through the field And being called at some first lap incidents. And Bruno in the Red Bull ring after clashing with Vinales. Valencia losing points on the final lap to Vinales. Now you could be cruising to the championship. And then of course Mazzano, which per Mayo Crest won't be talking about. It's a circuit where he just did not achieve what he should have in the MotoGP, but let's just say that. And he's been successful, especially in the Red Bull's Rookie Cup, in Moto3 and Moto2 as well. And back at the 25 one, that's more like it. 1.5 second gap to Dovi behind. He seems to be dropping Vinales. He's falling back into Marcus's clutches in it. Side, got Rossi. Lorenzo just being solid in sixth. He's got 5 laps to go. A 1.8 second gap for Mario. There's Luti up to 23rd out of Xavier Simon. Still battling, happening all the way through the fielders. As Vinales has dropped, he's now up to second head of Dovi. And Mario's gone wide again. Second time Mario's lost concentration this race. He's inviting Vinales to have a little poke and prod for the lead now. Especially downhill into this right-hander where Vinales is pretty strong, as demonstrated. And so Mario's lost the lead. And he's holding up Dovi now. So 4 laps to go. We've sort of got a race on our hands as Mario. Very lazy. There's all Morbidelli down in the battle for 23rd, probably, wasn't it? Or 20th. Petrucci up ahead of Zarco. Now, man, he's got to get his race face back on. He was leading and had a comfortable lead as well, but just 2 mistakes. Maybe showing why he shouldn't be a MotoGP champion. Champion who just reading away, control the pace. But that's his season. He's had the pace to achieve much more than he has so far. But just mistakes, getting caught up with other people, other riders. The bike just not being as good at some circuits. It's led to the situation where he's chasing. Not just Vinales this race, but Dovi and Marcus in the championship. As you've got 3 laps to go. It's a three-way tussle here in Australia. Then we're back into the 25s, no, 26. Very slow. As he tries to make the move on Vinales. He made it stick though, through the left. It's gone a bit wide. You have to exit though. Ahead of the Yamaha, and he takes it. That's more like it, as Nakagami up to 18th. And a servant. So nicely into the hairpin as well, Mario. That's how you shut a door. Now you're just going to keep your concentration for another 2.5 laps. And it will be the 7th win of the season as Petrucci up to 9th ahead of Iannone. And now Vinales and Dovi can get back to their personal battling, hopefully. It's all Mayo wide again. It's all the tyres. Starting to feel it a bit. So we look down to the bottom right. It's only around halfway worn though. So a bit like Motegi last race where we got to this state where they're still rideable, but we have to be a bit careful getting on the power out the corners. Spolswell got to 14th head of Alvaro Bautista and a 25.3. That's more like it, Mario. Marquez and Rossi very comfortable in 4th and 5th. Lorenzo, Crutchlow, Zarco, Iannone and Petrucci at the top 10. Crutchlow not doing anything about the Ducati though on his LCR Honda. Good to be sitting in his shadow for the whole of the race. And we're on the penultimate lap of it. He needs to make a move, does Crutchlow? If he can. I saw Mario ride again. No doubt he's been the fastest rider out there, but once again, some silly mistakes. And that's why he only leads by half a second. When it should be a comfortable couple of seconds. Like, he should be backing off now and trying to save the bike and the tyres. You say he's still pushing. That's leading to mistakes. There's Redding up to 19th ahead of Nakagami. Now Bradley Smith up into the top 20. Running his fellow Brit through. So that's better for the penultimate corner. For the final corner, that's better, nice and smooth on the exit. Let's head on to the final lap here in Australia, 26.1. What an abysmal lap. It's been a race which has had some fantastic pace. But only a little bit of battling, unfortunately. Well, he took the lead early on. W tried to live with him, but he just fell back into the clutches of the Yamaha Vinales. Marcus fell down the early on as well. Hadn't really recovered, hasn't had the pace to challenge the top 3. Same for Rossi as well in 5th. The note of battles lower down the order, especially for 23rd. And for 8th as well, between Iannone, Zarco and Petrucci. Jack Millard, a fantastic start out at the top 10. Not able to match his teammate, unfortunately. But then Mayo started making mistakes that allowed Vinales to have a little brief look. But as you can see, he's built the gap up to a second on this final lap. He's been the man with the pace, with the plan. It's going to be mission accomplished for Mario. For the 7th time this season. He leaves the final corner. After his, I don't know how many poles he's had this season, as he wins in the longer race. Be a racer, definitely was then. As with that victory, how close will the top 3 be now in the championship? As Mario 6/10 ahead of Vinales with Dovi in 3rd, Marquez in 4th, then Rossi. Bit of a gap to Lorenzo, 4.4 seconds, with Crutchlow just a 10th behind. Then Iannone winning that battle for 8th ahead of Zarco, and Miller grabbing the top 10 over Petrucci. Saying he couldn't live with his teammate, and he does that on the final lap. Then you got Pedrosa, Rins down in 13th, very disappointing. In Espargo and Tito Rabat just misses out on the point by less than a second behind Alvaro Bautista. As looking further down, Morbidelli in last after his fall. So in the championship, with just 2 rounds remaining, Marcus leads by a point ahead of Dovi, and by 2 points ahead of Mayo. McDonald with Vinales in 4th, Rossi in 5th, Zarco, Lorenzo, Petrucci, Crutchlow. Rins runs out the top 10 level on points with Jack Miller. Then you've got Iannone, Pedrosa, Bautista, Paul Espargo, Rabat, Serin and Scott Redding the point scorers. Abraham stood in last. And the constructors Yamaha take back that lead immediately from Honda by 6 points. Ducati further 22 points. Aprilia not out of it, 26 points behind. They could still grab 3rd in the championship. Suzuki and KTM in 5th and 6th. On the team championship, 48-point lead for Yamaha over Ducati. Honda in 3rd. Aprilia in 4th, putting the gap to Pramac to 22 points now, with Suzuki in 6th, Jet 3 7th, LCR 8th, and going into 9th, KTM 10th, Avinto in 11th, LCR Honda Japan, and Mark VDS yet to score. So for Mayo, for Aprilia, it is mission accomplished. Another victory and some more developments to come. As another spectacular Grand Prix at Phillip Island, McDonald shows that you need to be smart as well as brave. Well done. Jorge Martin is your Moto3 world champion, while Moto2 outsmarted ahead of Bagnaia and Baldassari. So in bike development, then what do Aprilia do? So they really haven't looked at suspension or frame. Of course, engine they haven't looked at all. So maybe it'll be the frame this time. Makes the bike react faster when steering. That might actually be helpful for Mario, or will it be getting into the corners? Now getting out of the corners. So that would be a bit more important. So streak is still alive for on the trot. And now we'll be heading to Sepang, the Malaysian circuit, where he had a ding-dong battle with Dovi last time out and he went to the line. Can it happen again this time? So I'm watching. We'll find out next time.